Hey guys. So Matthew Lillard, the the man we will now know as William Afton, the man who always comes back. Um I love him as an actor, I love him as a person. And he made a little comment here and he was was talking about the movie. And it's sad that what seems like common sense to us seems to be foreign knowledge to everyone else, especially in the movie industry. So Matthew Lillard says that Five Nights at Freddy's movie is built for the fans. And here's his quote: "They weren't that concerned with whether other people liked the movie. The idea of like, hey, this isn't a movie for everyone. This is a movie for this fan base." I know, strange concept, right? And and actually, this is how movies should be made for a already established all franchise. Keep the fans first. Now we see this all the time. They'll do it with Marvel. They do it with Tolkien's work. You name it. It is now being bastardized to fit a narrative. It's being bastardized for equity and equality and all that crap. And it doesn't give a shit about entertainment. They're pushing an agenda with it. But FNAF, the movie, was a good movie. They took a game like Five Nights at Freddy's, where you just sit there and click on security monitors, and they turned into a movie. It was like what, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it was a fun movie. Like I said, when I went to see it, the theater was so interactive with this movie. Funny bits. The whole audience was, laughing. The scary parts, little jump scares, people were reacting. The reveals, you heard that collective gasp throughout the theater, and it was a really fun experience. Probably one of the most fun I've ever had in a cinema. Um, but you go like just the Marvels come out, it's tanking. It's tanking. Marvel nowadays, they're not doing anything with the franchise that people want to see. Um, you have all these shows or TV shows, movies, comics, video games that just come out, and they, especially with movies, when you making something that has a fan base, the people making it, they never care about the fans. They just, Disney is constantly doing this. Like, oh, you don't like it, you're just a racist, you're a homophobe, you're this, you're that. They don't take what the fans say into consideration, because it's the fans who are going to go see it. It's the fans who are going to go pay money for it. And when you piss off the fans by ruining things in the franchise, you're just ruining it for yourself. This a movie that's 3, 4, $500 million is only going to make like 150 because you wanted to tell people like, oh, the movie's not for you then. If you don't like it, then don't go see it. But when it's an established franchise, you want the fans to see it. So Five Nights at Freddy's did an excellent job. From what I heard, the Mario movie, unfortunately, because I still haven't seen it. I know people were like, John, you need to see it. It's a really good movie. But the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, really good movie. I know people were complaining about some bits, like all of them building like the fort. They're all laying on the ground together. It's like, oh, that's so cheesy. It's like, no, it's not. When you remember that there are spirits of children inside these suits, so they're not thinking like killer robots. They're thinking like children. What do children like to do? They like to build forts. It's common sense, people. But I'm glad, like Matthew Lillard and I think Josh Hutcherson said the same thing. It's like, this is for the fans. They worked together with Scott, and Scott did his best to create something that was familiar to us, but also is now its own little cinematic universe. I think he succeeded in that, and I really can't wait for the next movie. Hopefully, getting to see the puppet. You know, the puppet's like my second favorite character. Um, Mangle. I mean, if they manage to pull Mangle off, I mean, Mangle is probably by far the most aggressive of them. At least in FNAF 2. But this this is what happens when you take a franchise and you make it for the fans, and you take that time and dedication and you add in little bits for them. Like, oh my god, it's referencing this. Oh, it's referencing the second game. Oh, it's, you know, Silver Eyes and Fourth Closet and this and that, and I think Matthew Lillard also said that his kids were like super excited that they're like, oh my god, Dad's gonna be in this movie. Like, oh god, it's like, oh god, William Afton is my dad now. And then he starts using lines. It's like, you had one job. Then they could do that. It's like, you had one job when I was gone to do this and blah blah blah. It's like that. Well, that's two. Or symmetry, my friend. I think that line "symmetry, my friend" is going to be kind of the new, you know, perfectly balanced as all things should be. I it's a cheesy line, but it works. So, you know, with Thanos saying that, with the whole, you know, perfectly balanced as all things should be, William Afton saying "symmetry, my friend." It's I think it's gonna become a meme. It already kind of has. Um, Absolute cinema, and it is. And you only have to worry about one thing: keeping people out and, you know, keep the place tidy. That's two things. Imagine that, making a movie for its fans rather than actively pissing off the fans in pursuit of some other phantom fan base that never turns up. Image is unrelated. The Marvels grosses 6.6 million in Thursday previews at the domestic box office. Absolutely love the movie. Yeah, it was a really good movie. Marvel and Kevin Feige should learn a thing or two from him. Uh-huh. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, if you're deeply immersed in the lore, maybe. Cinema. Here you go, King. As most movies with a fandom should be. Yeah, just glad to see Shaggy getting the respect he deserves. For the fans. That's how you do it, Hollywood. Story changed some, but I'm glad it was for the fans. Yeah, that's good of him. This this kind of movie making needs to be done more frequently. Many directors say fuck the studio and fuck the fans. Why does every movie why does every movie for the fans have to be mediocre film though? I mean, as popular as FNAF is, it's still a very niche community. It's not like it's hard to explain it though. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like, who was it that I heard? I can't remember. It's like Mr. Beast. You know, as popular as Mr. Beast is, it's not like he's a household name. You know, there's still parents who don't know who Mr. Beast is. So it can be extremely popular and well known, but still not be like mainstream, if that makes sense. Um, Not gonna lie, if you were a real fan, you'd realize it sucks ass. Of course. Don't cook again. It wasn't scary at all. And that's literally the whole point of the FNAF games and what they're loved for. if you're honestly scared by a FNAF game, they're cheesy jump scares. They're not supposed to terrify you. People, I swear. Uh, Wait, FNAF movie is built for the fans. Now that's so hard to believe because I've been a fan of the franchise since 2014, and the movie sucked. I wanted more scary, creepy moments and more blood. You know, like all the blood seen in the games. Not this comedy crap where you befriend killer animatronics and build forts. Sorry about that. I had to pause. My landlady showed up. She's kicking me out. I'm kidding. No. She just had mail for me. She's like, you have 3 letters. You've got mail. And I'm like, thanks. No, can you get out of my house now? No, I didn't do that. Now, my landlady's cool. Uh, I'm sorry, I have such a bad sense of humor. Um, but yeah, Matthew Lillard, I mean, I've always thought he was like a very, like a classy kind of guy. He really doesn't say anything unnecessary, it seems. Um, and I mean, really, it seems like in his at heart, he's like us. He's just a big nerd. Um, and I think that's the kind of people we need more of in Hollywood, especially when it comes to adapting video games. Even if he's never played the game, he's still a nerd like us, and he still has that fandom that he's a part of, that he would feel the same way as we would. It's like, okay, well, they're saying they're adapting something that I love to the big screen. I'm going to want it to be treated with respect and love, and, you know, I want it to be made for the fans, for people like me. So even if he's never heard or even played FNAF or whatever, I'm sure there's fandoms that he's a part of. And he's taking the, you know, he wanted the same dedication and everything that he'd want his own fandoms to be part of. And of course, Scott, Matt Pat was there, and everyone's talking to him and asking him about the lore of the game. And so this movie was always in good hands, you know, because Scott was like, I'm going to be a part of it. And he's like, I'm not just handing my baby over to anyone. You know, I'm going to be a part of it. And that's how it should be. Um, because that's when you kind of guarantee that the product is going to be more than just a regular movie or whatever. When it's a franchise that people love. So I'm really glad that the cast seems to understand that it's important to people. Yeah, it's a game where you're sitting there clicking on screens and making sure you don't get jump scared. It's got lore scattered throughout, but it's good to see that the cast, even the background characters or the minor characters, they wanted to know as much about this game as possible, so that way they could bring their best to this movie. And I think we just need more people like Matthew Lillard and Josh and all of everyone else who worked on this movie. We need more people in Hollywood like them, who know it's for the fans and want it to be the best film possible. Again, the animatronics, Jim Henson's studio, the workshop, absolutely amazing. They did. I think that was the biggest thing of when the movie was announced, was like, how are the animatronics going to look? They look exactly like they do in game. They can walk, they can move, you can see their eyes, you know, they can squint and, you know, close their eyes, and it's just so amazing that we've gotten this live action movie and the animatronics look exactly like they do in game. Not to mention they gave the cupcake a huge role. It seemed like the cupcake was doing everything. Um, but Matthew Lillard, classy guy, really is. I mean, I've loved him for the longest time. Um, but You know, when it also comes to horror, you know, he's a horror guy, and he put just enough creepiness into his character, especially these scenes right here when you're first meeting him as Steve Raglan. You know he's William Afton, but in that world, he's just this nice, humble career counselor helping young people and anyone trying to find a job. But he says things and moves certain ways that are just creepy. You know, when he reads Mike's name, he's like, Mike's, you know, and just the kind of like the thrill in his voice as he's in his suit, in the Springtrap suit, and he just really brought William Afton to life. And he's William Afton now, which I can't wait for. I loved William Afton in the movie, and I can't wait to see how much more sinister they can make him in the upcoming movies. Um, but yeah, Matthew Lillard for the fans, and it shows. Let me know what you guys thought of the movie. Let me know, you like Matthew Lillard, and if what was your favorite. If all the movies he's been in, it doesn't have to be FNAF. Your favorite role that he's been in. Do you have something to say? Come on. You got something to say, Sam? He said you should totally like and subscribe because this guy who I'm living with is really, really cool and he takes really good care of me. That's why I bother him all the time, even when he's recording his videos. Anyway, yeah, you guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.